I'm Azaria Tagaya and this is Nightline, the top stories. PM orders review of PTPTN loan repayment system. And over 29 billion ringgit in 1MDB assets recovered. Good morning. The National Higher Education Fund Corporation, or PTPTN, has been directed to present proposed improvements after the Aidilfitri celebrations aimed at enhancing loan repayment rates without burdening borrowers. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim acknowledged the importance of ensuring the sustainability of PTPTN's funds so that future generations can continue to benefit from it. In a statement on Facebook, Anwar said he reviewed the issue of loan repayments while chairing a meeting with the Higher Education Ministry's leadership earlier on Monday. Following the meeting, the Prime Minister attended the Ihya Ramadan program organised by the ministry. Meanwhile, commenting on the PTPTN loan repayments, Higher Education Minister Datuk Seri Zamri Abdul Kadir said no final decision has been made on imposing travel bans on defaulters.
Kita telah membuat langkah-langkah yang seperti mana yang telah pun kita lakukan sebelum ini. Bukan hanya melibat langkah-langkah yang disebutkan sebagai travel ban dan sebagainya, tetapi yang paling besar ialah bagaimana pelbagai pendekatan yang perlu dilakukan dalam usaha kita untuk kita memastikan supaya mereka yang meminjam ini dapat membayar.
Zamri added that PTPTN has seen an increase in loan repayments after issuing some 2.1 million reminder letters to borrowers with outstanding debts. This initiative is part of PTPTN's efforts to encourage timely loan repayments. Meanwhile, Anwar emphasised that the proposal to limit the Prime Minister's tenure to 10 years does not contradict the fundamental principles enshrined in the Federal Constitution. He said the measure is essential in fostering a more mature democracy in the country. Anwar described the proposal as a step towards ensuring the continuity of clean governance and a more structured administrative system. He also viewed it as a safeguard against the centralisation of power, which could lead to corruption and abuse. His message was conveyed by his Senior Press Secretary Tunku Nasrul Abaida during the Prime Minister's office daily briefing on Monday.
Perdana Menteri turut mengingatkan segelintir pihak dari blok pembangkang khususnya agar tidak menjadikan niat murni ini sebagai bahan politik perkauman sempit dan dangkal. Roh dan sifat jawatan Perdana Menteri itu sudah terang lagikan bersuluh seperti mana termaktub di dalam Perlembagaan Persekutuan.
The Prime Minister noted that several countries, including neighbouring Indonesia, have already implemented this approach. At the same time, Anwar urged members of Parliament questioning the matter to read his book Membangun Negara Madani before making reckless criticisms. He also welcomed constructive and responsible debate on the issue given the challenges ahead. Additionally, he invited all parties to contribute their input towards developing a transparent and equitable system. Over 70% of the 42 billion ringgit in funds allegedly misappropriated in the 1MDB scandal has been recovered, amounting to more than 29.7 billion ringgit. In the latest development, some 14.6 million ringgit in assets, including funds in multiple foreign currencies, have also been returned. In a statement, the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission (MACC) confirmed that the recovered funds include assets in US, Singapore, New Zealand and Australian dollars. The funds have been deposited into the Assets Recovery Trust Fund under the Finance Ministry. A large portion of the latest recovery, some 12.9 million ringgit, was retrieved from the sale of properties and transfers linked to Tan Kim Loong, an associate of fugitive financier Joe Low. Additionally, 1.6 million ringgit worth of assets was recovered from Singaporean national Yaki Chi, a former banker convicted in Singapore for his involvement in the 1MDB case. The MACC highlighted that Malaysia's 1MDB asset recovery rate is significantly higher than global standards, attributing it to coordinated efforts among law enforcement agencies as well as cooperation on an international scale. The Health Ministry, MOH, will implement a new e-placement system for the selection of permanent postings for over 2,000 medical officers. Health Director General Datuk Dr. Muhammad Razi Abdul Hassan said the new system will be fairer and more transparent. Dr. Muhammad Razi said the existing e-placement system experienced technical disruptions on February 27th. This occurred when the network log recorded 19 million user accesses in a single day, rendering the system data inaccessible and unusable.
Sistem pemilihan yang sedia ada, yang mana yang menggunakan kaedah first come and first serve, akan digantikan dengan sistem yang lebih telus, adil, berasaskan merit dan memenuhi penawaran dan juga permintaan.
He stated that the new application dates, previously communicated to candidates via email for March 25th to 27th, have been cancelled and postponed until further notice. MOH expects to reopen applications within the next 6 to 8 weeks to assess the stability of the new system. Effective Monday, 5 non-critical items have been exempted from commercial vehicle inspections at Puspakom. This exemption was introduced through a self-declaration initiative to ease congestion at Puspakom's vehicle inspection centres. The 5 non-critical items are vehicle body lettering, speed signs and first aid kits, as well as registration numbers and the condition of passenger seats for public service vehicles. According to Road Transport Department RTD Director General Dato' Edi Fadli Ramli, the exemption helps reduce inspection time by 10 minutes.
Melalui langkah ini, masa pemeriksaan dijangka dapat dipendekkan dan mengurangkan kes kegagalan atas sebab yang tidak kritikal dari aspek keselamatan.
Vehicle owners can submit a self-declaration online via the Puspakom website. According to Puspakom data, nearly 70,000 commercial vehicles have failed inspections due to non-compliance with the 5 exempted items. Meanwhile, some quote-unquote runners or middlemen have been found profiteering by reselling Puspakom appointment slots at more than 200 times the original price. It was revealed that these slots were being sold for up to 750 ringgit, despite Puspakom's actual fee being only 3 ringgit 50 sen.
Yang ini kita masih siasat dengan bantuan JPJ juga. Kita sedang menelitilah siapa dan mengapa dia melakukannya dan kita akan panggil.
Kita juga sedang meminta bantuan daripada agensi-agensi berkaitan seperti SPM untuk kita teliti bagaimana tindakan boleh diambil ke atas runner tersebut.
Previously, Transport Minister Anthony Loke emphasised that multiple inspection slot bookings for the same registration number are not allowed. This measure aims to curb the practice of middlemen reselling appointment slots at inflated prices. Dato' Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob spent nearly 7 hours giving his statement at the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC headquarters on Monday. This marks the 4th day of questioning for the former Prime Minister as part of an ongoing probe into corruption and money laundering allegations. A vehicle carrying the 9th Prime Minister was seen leaving the MACC headquarters at approximately 4:30 p.m. The Borough MP is scheduled to resume his statement at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. He's being investigated under the MACC Act and the Anti-Money Laundering, Anti-Terrorism Financing and Proceeds of Unlawful Activities Act. On March 3rd, MACC Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Baki confirmed that Dato' Sri Ismail Sabri is a suspect in the case following the discovery of approximately 170 million ringgit in cash. Authorities also seized 16 kilograms of gold bars worth 7 million ringgit in raids at 3 locations, including premises believed to be safe houses. The seized assets are believed to be linked to some 700 million ringgit in funds allocated for the promotional activities under the Keluarga Malaysia initiative. In another case, the Kadar branch of the MACC has remanded 2 officers from an enforcement agency on suspicion of bribery. The 2 men were detained on Saturday afternoon when they presented themselves at the Kadar MACC office in Alor to have their statements recorded. The 5-day remand order for the duo was issued following an application by the MACC at the Alor Magistrates Court. According to an MACC source, the men were believed to have solicited and received a bribe of 1,500 ringgit from a man in exchange for not taking action against him for possessing drugs. In Johor, police have opened an investigation into a viral case involving a non-Muslim man who was slapped for eating in public at a shopping mall in Johor Bahru. Johor Bahru Utara Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Balveer Singh Mahinder Singh said a report on the incident was received around 9:08 p.m. on Sunday. The incident went viral after the 21-year-old victim was questioned on his religion by a middle-aged man who also allegedly demanded to see his identification card. When the youth refused to comply, an argument ensued and the victim was slapped twice on the cheek. The case is being investigated under the Penal Code for voluntarily causing hurt. A lorry driver has been remanded in connection with a fatal collision that claimed the life of a 7-year-old Singaporean boy in Johor Bahru on Sunday night. He was detained by police following the incident after a urine test confirmed he was under the influence of drugs. In a statement on Monday, Johor Bahru Selatan Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Raub Slamat said the 57-year-old suspect not only tested positive for methamphetamine but also did not have a valid driving licence or vocational licence. Additionally, his vehicle's road tax had expired. The suspect has been remanded for 4 days to assist in investigations under the Road Transport Act and the Dangerous Drugs Act. In the 10:30 p.m. incident on Jalan Pantai near Permas Jaya, the lorry driver reportedly lost control of his vehicle, veering into the opposite lane and colliding with the Singapore-registered multi-purpose vehicle MPV driven by a 44-year-old man. The boy was thrown out of the MPV due to the impact of the crash and later succumbed to his injuries at 3 a.m. the following day while receiving treatment at a private hospital. 4 other occupants in the MPV, including an Indonesian woman, were taken to Sultan Ismail Hospital for treatment, with 2 of them already discharged. Meanwhile, a driver and his family experienced a terrifying moment when 3 vehicles dangerously overtook a trailer, nearly causing a crash along Jalan Tambunan Penampang in Sabah on Sunday. The 1:40 p.m. incident, which involved an express bus, a car and a 4-wheel drive vehicle, was captured on a dashboard camera and went viral on social media. In the video, all 3 vehicles were seen overtaking the trailer on a double-lined stretch at a sharp bend, almost causing a collision with an oncoming car in the opposite lane. The car's driver, 27-year-old Muhammad Fahadi Regisli, said he was travelling with his mother, younger sister and 2 nieces from Keningau to Kota Kinabalu. The family escaped unharmed as they were driving slowly along the route. A report on the incident was lodged at the Penampang District Police Headquarters and via the MyJPJ application later the same day. Foreign investors continued their 3rd consecutive week of heavy selling across Asian markets, recording a net outflow of $6.7 billion last week amid weak market sentiment. According to MIDF Amanah Investment Bank, the Philippines was the only country to register a net inflow of foreign funds. Meanwhile, Taiwan saw the highest net outflow, totaling $3.8 billion, followed by South Korea, India, Thailand, Indonesia and Vietnam. The sell-off was primarily driven by foreign investors offloading semiconductor stocks amid global concerns over chip stock valuations. In Malaysia, foreign outflows from Bursa Malaysia reached $302 million, but local investors helped cushion the impact of broader market sell-offs. Tonight on Nightline, over 70% of 42 billion ringgit 1MDB misappropriated funds recovered. Police open IP on viral case of man being slapped. Also, Yemen vows retaliation against US strikes. Join me, Azaria Tagaya, on TV3 and Buletin TV3's YouTube channel. Malaysia has the 2nd lowest exposure in ASEAN to tariffs imposed by US President Donald Trump. According to analysts, Malaysia's exposure stands at approximately 3.3%, placing it among the least affected major trading partners of the United States. However, CGS International Chief Economist Nazmi Idris noted that Malaysia still faces high tariffs on rubber products, cocoa, vehicles, alcohol and tobacco. In contrast, Singapore enjoys near zero tariffs due to its free trade agreement with the US. Meanwhile, BIMB Securities Research reported that Malaysia is not among the top 10 contributors to the US trade deficit. Among ASEAN nations, Thailand has the highest tariff exposure at about 6.3%, followed by Indonesia and Vietnam. Meanwhile, Trump said he has no intention to ease steel and aluminium tariffs as Washington edges towards an all-out trade war with major partners. Instead, he doubled down on a pledge to impose reciprocal levies as soon as April 2nd to remedy trade practices Washington deems unfair, raising the potential for more products and trading partners to be specifically targeted.
It's going to be reciprocal. In other words, whatever they're charging, we're charging. Very simple. If If they're charging us, we're charging them. It's no longer they charge us and we don't charge them. Then in addition to that, on autos, on steel, on aluminum, we're going to have some additional tariffs.
Since January, Trump has imposed levies on multiple trading partners and imports, including steel and aluminium, roiling financial markets and fanning fears that his plans could tip the world's biggest economy into a recession. Draper conquers Indian Wells. Sports after this breather.
Bawa muatan lebih, pemandu lori abai tanggungjawab.
Kita syak dia bawa lebih muatan. Piling ni melepasi daripada pagar dia lah kan.
Lori tipe diubah suai bagi mengaburi pihak berkuasa.
Pagar tu dia dah buat lagi tinggi lah dan dia akan dapat lebihan untuk bawa lebih muatan.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Pada 10 malam yang terakhir, maka carilah satu malam yang dinamakan Malam Lailatul Qadar. Lailatul Qadri khairum min alfi syahr. Pada malam kemuliaan itu lebih baik daripada 1000 bulan. Ketika mana sampainya 10 malam terakhir, kesungguhan kita mesti lebih supaya kita mendapat keampunan dan keredaan Allah Subhanahu wa taala.
Tanyalah Ustaz minggu ini, Isnin 17 Mac, calon ahli syurga. Selasa 18 Mac, khatam, tartil dan tadabbur. Rabu 19 Mac, peristiwa Al-Ifki. Khamis 20 Mac, matematik zakat dan fidyah. Jumaat 21 Mac, fasiliti masjid dan iktikaf. Sabtu 22 Mac, Al-Quran dan sedekah. Tanyalah Ustaz, biar tahu jangan keliru di TV3 dan TV9, stream juga melalui Tonton.
Kes yang selama ini kita dengar,
dia bunuh anak kita, campak pula tepi jalan.
kini dirungkai satu persatu.
Dia pujuk untuk kembali tidak diterima. Aku dah tenang kau.
Daripada polis yang menyiasat,
Dia cuba nak larikan diri tapi terkena juga dia.
wartawan yang membongkar dan pakar forensik yang menganalisis. Fail Mahkamah ada jawapannya. Setiap Rabu 9 malam. Indahkan memori Ramadan di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Sports, badminton and the 2025 All England Open. Top seed and world number 1 Shi Yuqi of China clinched the title after beating Chia Haoli of Chinese Taipei in the final. Shi looked set for an easy victory when he claimed the first set 21-17. Li, however, provided a tougher fight in the second set, but Shi remained calm to seal the trophy with the 21-19 win. This is the second time the Chinese player has raised the men's singles trophy at the All England Open. In the women's singles event, South Korean An Se-young came back from a set down to beat first-seeded Wang Ziyi of China in the final. The second seed lost the Open at 13-21 before bouncing back to take the next two sets 21-18, 21-18 in the 1 hour and 35-minute clash. Kim Won-ho and Seo Seung-jae helped South Korea to win a second gold as they lifted the men's doubles trophy. The duo beat Leo Rolikarnando and Bagas Maulana of powerhouse Indonesia 21-19, 21-19. Moving on to tennis, the 2025 Indian Wells Open, Jack Draper overwhelmed Holger Rune in the final, achieving two big milestones by claiming his first Masters 1000 title and earning his debut in the top 10 of the ATP rankings. Draper, a 23-year-old from Britain who was seeded 13th at the hardcourt tournament in the California desert, was at his best as he took the opener 6-2. Draper kept his momentum in the decider and clinched the trophy with the same score in the one-hour clash. With the win, Draper will rise from number 14 to a career-high number 7 in the rankings on Monday. Turning to football now, the German Bundesliga, Bayer Leverkusen stole a late victory from Stuttgart in a thrilling 7-goal encounter. Stuttgart struck first when Ermedin Demirovic pounced on a rebound in the 14th minute. The hosts doubled their lead 3 minutes into the second half through Nick Woltermader following a quick counter-attack. Jeremy Frimpong halved the deficit for Leverkusen in the 56th minute just before Stuttgart restored their 2-goal lead 6 minutes later, no thanks to Granit Xhaka's own goal. Piero Hincapié then drilled in a shot for Leverkusen in the 67th minute from a corner kick, with Stuttgart's Angelo Stiller putting the ball into his own net in the 88th minute to make it 3-all. The match was about to be concluded with a share of spoils when Patrick Schick headed in the winner for Leverkusen, sealing a remarkable 4-3 victory. With the win, Leverkusen cut Bayern Munich's lead at the top to 6 points. US airstrikes Yemen to retaliate. This and more from the foreign front when Nightline returns.
Yang? Oh, Yang.
Apa yang ni?
Oh, nak gurau sikit pun nak terasa. Ni nak bagi tahulah untuk sembang sahur hari Rabu ni, kita nak membincangkan mengenai topik hikmah berkasih sayang.
Oh, dan hari Khamis pula kita akan bincangkan tentang nafsu yang tidak pernah kenyang.
Okey, jadi untuk anda jangan lupa menyaksikan sembang sahur Rabu dan juga Khamis 11 malam di TV3.
Anda juga boleh stream melalui Tonton.
Kes yang selama ini kita dengar,
Dia bunuh anak kita. Campak pula tepi jalan.
Kini dirungkai satu persatu.
Dia pujuk untuk kembali tidak diterima. Aku dah tenang kau.
Daripada polis yang menyiasat.
Dia cuba nak larikan diri tapi terkena juga dia.
Wartawan yang membongkar dan pakar forensik yang menganalisis. Fail Mahkamah ada jawapannya. Setiap Rabu 9 malam. Indahkan memori Ramadan di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Tidak ada yang paling hampir seorang hamba dengan yang maha pencipta iaitu Allah ketika mana dia dalam keadaan sujud. Itulah keadaan yang paling hampir kita dengan Allah. Saksikan Tanyalah Ustaz dari Muslim siaran Jumaat 21 Mac jam 5.30 petang di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Bawa muatan lebih, pemandu lori abai tanggungjawab.
Kita syak, dia bawa lebih muatan. Piling ni melepasi daripada pagar dia lah kan.
Lori tipe diubah suai bagi mengaburi pihak berkuasa.
Pagar tu dia dah buat lagi tinggi lah. Dan dia akan dapat lebihan untuk bawa lebih muatan.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
We're back with news from the foreign front. The United States carried out new airstrikes on Yemen on Monday, increasing pressure on the Iran-aligned group and expanding the biggest U.S. military operation in the Middle East since President Donald Trump returned to the White House. On Monday, the U.S. targeted the Red Sea port city of Kadar and Al Jauf Governorate north of the capital, Sana'a. So far, the death toll has risen to at least 53 people, with 5 children and 2 women among the victims, while 98 others were left injured. The U.S. began its new campaign of airstrikes on Yemen on Saturday after the Houthis said last week that they would renew attacks against Israeli vessels after Israel cut off the flow of humanitarian aid to Gaza this month. However, no Houthi attacks were reported before the weekend. Earlier, Trump also vowed to use overwhelming lethal force until the Houthis ceased their attacks, while Houthi leader Abdul Malik al-Houthi stated that they will confront escalation with escalation. On another matter, Trump said he plans to speak to Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday to discuss ending the war in Ukraine after positive talks between U.S. and Russian officials in Moscow.
Well, I think we'll, be talking about land. It's a lot of land. It's a lot different than it was before the wars, And we'll be talking about land. We'll be talking about power plants, because that's that's a big question. But I think we have a lot of it already discussed very much by both sides.
You'll ask him.
Ukraine and Russia.
You'll ask him.
We're already talking about that, dividing up certain assets. Yeah, and they've been working on that.
Trump is trying to win Putin's support for a 30-day ceasefire proposal that Ukraine accepted last week. This as both sides continue trading heavy aerial strikes through the weekend, with Russia moving closer to ejecting Ukrainian forces from their months-old foothold in the western Russian region of Kursk. Approval ratings for Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba's government have dropped sharply as the leader faces backlash for distributing expensive gift vouchers to rookie ruling party lawmakers. According to a poll by the Asahi Shimbun Daily, just 26% of voters expressed support for Ishiba's cabinet, a dramatic fall from the 40% who felt similarly in the same survey in February. A separate survey by the Yomiuri Shimbun Daily put support for the administration at 31%, down from 39% in February. Both were the lowest since Ishiba took office in October. Ishiba has come under fire for handing out gift vouchers worth $670 each to 15 new Liberal Democratic Party LDP lawmakers, a move he has defended as legally sound and not a political donation. The LDP, which has governed Japan almost continuously since 1955, has been convulsed by a series of corruption scandals in recent years, including one over kickbacks to lawmakers that sank Ishiba's predecessor. Police have detained 15 people following a nightclub fire in North Macedonia that killed at least 59 people and injured almost 200 on Sunday. Officials said the detainees will be questioned as there are grounds for suspicion of bribery and corruption linked to the blaze. The first on-site inspections on Sunday showed several abnormalities in the venue, such as deficiencies in the system for fire extinguishing and lighting, highlighting that the blaze had been caused by pyrotechnics hitting the ceiling, which was made of highly flammable material. The venue reportedly did not have a legal license to operate. The government has declared 7 days of national mourning and an emergency session as part of ongoing investigations into the incident. Well, that's it for Nightline. Now, before we leave, let's take a look as farmers in Zizang welcome the start of the spring ploughing season, hoping for a good harvest. With that, I'm Azaria Tagaya. Thank you so much for watching and selamat bersahur, and we'll see you next time.